In light of a brand new lockdown for some of my friends, I think it's about time for a brand new remade bread video. Because let's be real, there's gonna be a lot of circuit bakers and you might as well make some decent bread while you're at it. Unfortunately, I can't save you from the horde, aka people who stockpile flour, and for some reason, toilet paper. Maybe because they're Hi, my name is El, come for the memes and stay for the remade videos. Maybe. Possibly. Today, we'll be revisiting how to make focaccia because I can, and well, things look better in daylight. Also, I know that many of you want to try to be productive while in lockdown, but are stuck with work from home conditions. So with that in mind, today's recipe will be a no-knead one, so there'll be no need to worry about putting bread on the table. Let's get to baking. Quick note before we begin, this is a simple recipe but not a quick one. I recommend doing this at night so you can sleep while the dough proofs. Begin by starting with 300 grams of strong bread flour. You'll know it's strong because it clearly lifts. It's also usually stated on the packaging. To that, add 8 grams of salt and 7 grams of yeast, or in terms that many of you are more familiar with, a sachet of yeast. If you're wondering why I'm adding the two away from each other, it's because I'm doing it out of habit. In practice, it doesn't really make a huge difference if the yeast touches the salt. Give everything a good mix with a fork or a whisk or your hands to ensure that everything is well distributed. To that, add 225 grams of water and 10 grams of olive oil. The temperature of the water doesn't really matter as long as it's not boiling hot, too hot for you to comfortably touch, or a solid block of ice. Next, mix everything together until it forms a homogeneous ball of dough. Don't worry if it's lumpy. You can use your hands, but I find that using a long wooden chopstick or the back of a wooden spatula keeps things a lot cleaner. Also, if you have a dough scraper, this really helps as well. At this point, the dough will be a little sticky, so don't worry. Now, if you're feeling adventurous or just want some extra credit, you can try this. It's a bit hard to describe, but I'll try my best. What you want to do is to wet your hands with some water, scoop up the dough and sort of let it fall back down as you scoop it up again. Do this about 10 to 20 times and you're good to go. As you can see, the dough becomes a little bit smoother because of this. Cover it with cling film or a damp towel and place it somewhere warm to proof for about 15 minutes. I find that an oven with the light left on works pretty well for those who live in colder or drier areas.
15 minutes later.
Uncover your ball of dough and with wet hands, reach under it, pinch a bit of the dough and stretch it over itself. Turn the bowl and repeat this until you've gone all the way around your ball of dough. If you want to be extra like me, then you can do this a few more times. It's honestly quite therapeutic. Cover it again and let it rest for another 15 minutes.
Later.
Uncover it and repeat the process. As you can see here, the ball increases in size and gets a bit smoother.
One nap later.
Do it again. After this set of folds, I like to sort of flip the ball over and gently shape it into a tighter ball. Cover it and place it in your fridge for about 6 to 12 hours. For those of you who listened and did this at night, basically you can just go to sleep. Alternatively, you can use this time to figure out what toppings you want to go onto your bread.
The following day,
grab your baking tray and gently oil the entire thing. I recommend using a shallow non-stick tray about 1.5 to 2 inches deep. I couldn't find mine, so I used the next best thing. Uncover your ball of dough and gently tip it out into your baking tray. Gently stretch and coerce your dough into fitting the corners of your tray. I recommend wetting your hands before doing this and to use your knuckles to spread out the dough. If the dough is being stubborn, let it warm up for about 30 minutes before trying again. Just like many of us, we aren't immediately responsive the first thing out of bed. Once that's done, loosely cover it and let it slowly wake up for about 45 minutes to an hour or until doubled in size. I say loosely because the dough will rise, and if it touches your covering, you're gonna have a bad time. Once that's done, wet your fingertips and gently dimple the dough, pushing almost all the way to the bottom of the tin. Be gentle as you don't want to deflate your dough. Let it rise one last time for about 45 minutes to an hour. At this point, you can prepare your toppings. Here, I went with some fresh rosemary and sun-dried tomatoes. All I did was to roughly chop the herbs and to slice the tomatoes into smaller bits. I let them soak in the oil from the sun-dried tomatoes for extra flavor as well. Once your bread is ready, place your toppings on it. Once again, I'm being fairly careful here as I don't want to deflate it. Drizzle some of your flavored oil and finish it with a sprinkling of flaky salt. Pop it into a preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. If you have a spray bottle just like this, give it a few spritz as it enters the oven. Oh, and you want it to be on the middle rack. For those of you using sun-dried tomatoes just like me, they will char and blacken, but trust me, they will taste fantastic. Once your bread has been baked, remove it from the oven, give it a minute or so to cool, and remove it onto a wire rack. Let it cool for about 45 minutes to an hour and you are ready to eat. Now I generally don't add extra olive oil and salt because it's usually already properly seasoned before baking, but it makes for some nice B-roll. Proceed to enjoy your bread with whatever you like. And there you have it, how to make a fuss-free focaccia at home while more or less doing nothing, except waiting around or sleeping or whatever else you're doing. Now I know that some of you are wondering why I chose to use sun-dried tomatoes instead of fresh ones. The answer is pretty simple. I want my loaf of bread to taste good. You do want your bread to taste good, right? I get that fresh tomatoes look really good with them being all vibrant and bright red. But come on, I know that you guys have tasted them. The amount of time they spend in the oven just isn't enough for them to reduce down and caramelize. What we usually end up with is a sort of bland, watery blob of sadness. Much like some people, good for the eyes, not so good in reality. I get that people like Instagrammable foods because it racks in the likes. But this is why many places have started to focus on looks while foregoing the actual quality of their food. Come on guys, food should focus on taste first before anything else. But that's it for today my friends. I'll see you all next week for more videos just like this. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and do consider subscribing because it really helps the channel. We're almost at 8,000 subscribers and if we can hit that milestone, that would be pretty spectacular. Also, if you want to follow me on my socials, links to everything can be found in the description. I post there from time to time, so feel free to check them out. And finally, let me know what are some of your favorite focaccia toppings in the comments down below. Or you can just say hi because it helps with the YouTube algorithm and it helps more people find my videos. That's all I have for you today, and I'll see you beautiful people in the next video.